So before starting our Pega program, first let me tell you what are all the Pega programs we are having in our institute. Okay. So we'll be having two types of Pega programs, or in fact, three types. Okay. So first one, we are calling it as Pega regular program, and something as Pega mastery program, and the other one as Pega self-paced. Okay. So this is like completely different. That's fine. So these two are major things, Pega regular program and Pega mastery program. So in this Pega regular program, we are considering you as a complete beginner to Pega. Okay, so you might be having industry experience in different technology. You might have 10 years of Java experience. So or you might be having 10 years of career gap. Whatever it is, you are supposed to enroll into this program. And people who are already having Pega experience. So some people might be having Pega testing experience, meaning they might be having Pega knowledge and they don't want to learn everything from zero. So Pega mastery program is something only for Pega trained candidates, and this is completely for beginners. In this Pega regular program, we'll train you everything from zero to most advanced level, completely from zero to the most highest level. So when I say advanced level, it will be covering both CSA and CSSA and some part of LSA also. What is CSA, what is CSSA and LSA also, you'll come to know very soon, maybe today or tomorrow itself. So all the advanced concepts will be done. And even in this Pega regular program, so we are covering the latest version 24 concepts of Pega. So what is version 24 and what are all the available versions in Pega also, you'll slowly come to know. Okay, so when I say latest versions, we are covering something called constellation concepts and with something like React coding and something like Gen AI concepts with DX APIs. Okay, so all these are like most advanced concepts. These will be part of this curriculum. And people, maybe if you're having little Pega knowledge, and if you wanted to know more about this curriculum, so we are already sharing you. I think we are, every one of you might got our course content. So just try to go through that course content, which is like unbeatable. You can compare the course content with any other institute. Okay, so whatever the institute you wanted to compare, you just compare with the course content, and no doubt everything will be like an advanced scenario, and everything related to practicals is what we're completely covering. Okay, and this particular curriculum will be of 4.5 months. So we'll try to cover this program in 4.5 months. So actually, in terms of hours, if we just compare, will be minimum of 125 months. Please go on mute if you're not talking to me. Okay, so here you'll be having minimum of 120 plus live hours. So, and the course will be like from Monday to Friday, which is like 1 hour per day. So, which is like 1 hour per day. And even we'll be taking some classes on Saturdays and Sundays, which will be intimated to you at least 1 week before. Kucho? So which will be on Saturdays and Sundays, which will be intimated to you. Okay. And this whole program, as I told you, which will be taking like 4.5 months. And after this 4.5 months, or in this particular 4.5 month period, so you will be given with daily class recordings. After each and every session, you'll be given with class recordings. And this program runs both online as well as offline. So you guys can come for offline sessions whenever you require. And you can swap in between to online sessions also. This will run both online as well as offline. And due to some reasons, even if you are not attending the sessions, so you might be having something, uh, parallel calls or whatever it is, even if you are not attending any particular session, soon after the class, you'll be getting a recording. You can watch the recording in your convenient time and you can call back for any kind of doubts also. And along with each class recording, you'll be given with theory documents, practical documents. So practical Sunday, if today some session happen, we'll take screenshot of each and everything and it will be given as a practical document, which will be very easy when you're practicing. So today's session, you'll be watching the recording, right? Maybe you don't want to watch the same recording after 1 month. You can just go through the practical document. You'll understand the same concept. And after every class, you'll be given with interview question plus answers. Okay. And you will be given with MCQ tests also. So after every topic, you will be given with one MCQ test. Okay. And along with which you will be taken with mock interview, which is like personally, that is 1-to-1, once in 2 weeks. So once in 2 weeks in your WhatsApp group, you will be shared with one schedule. Okay. And for every person, it will be minimum of 20 minutes. Okay. And there will be like 4 projects happening in our curriculum. Okay. And 4 projects ante, so one is something like banking project, and the other one is like insurance project, and the other one is like healthcare project. And you will be given with extra user stories and assignments that will be done as 4th project. Consider it as something miscellaneous. Okay, so here banking project is something what we'll take in our class. So from today, in the next 4.5 months, in particular class discussion, this banking project will be done. Okay, and these 3 things are something homework what will be given for you. And today itself, meaning after our demo is done. So this insurance project video plus completed document. And even for this video plus complete document will be shared immediately. And you are supposed to do these projects parallelly on your own. And whatever the miscellaneous, like daily assignments I'm giving you. So daily assignments will be almost like 125 plus assignments. So here, as I told you that we are covering CSA and CWSA related major concepts, right? After every concept, what we are covering, we are giving you minimum of 2 assignments. And those will be total of 125 plus in number. And if you are maybe, so these 125 plus assignments will be completely different to this healthcare project. And these requirements are completely different to this project. And this is like completely different to this. So if you can complete all the projects, whatever we are giving you, no doubt you can minimum showcase yourself as 4 years of experience into Pega. So after this course is done, so if you guys wanted to go like again Pega fresher, and if you wanted to go like an Pega experienced. So in that scenario, you are supposed to showcase yourself as minimum 4 years, right? That is the level you can achieve if you can complete all these projects. So that's like open challenge. Okay. And you will be taking with project reviews again once in 2 weeks. So this is anyway what I'm taking care in the class. This alone will take 4.5 months. So parallelly explaining all the other things is not done from my end. So you are supposed to do all these 3 things. For that, once in 2 weeks, project reviews will be there. How are you starting this project? So whether you are following best practices or not. So once in 2 weeks, we'll take your screen share and we'll check everything. We'll guide according to that. Okay. And what are the other things I'm missing here? Okay. And here there will be something like resume preparation also for you. And career guidance will be there. And even job assistance also will be there. Okay. So this is what our program is. And in this particular program, we'll start everything from zero, starting from Pega installation point to the next high level, everything from zero, I'll take care. Next. And that too, this particular recordings, whatever we are sharing you. So every video, it will be of accessible till 1 year from day one, meaning from today, you can access any video till 1 year, which will be view. Okay, cannot download it. And you can access this from laptop as well as from mobiles also. And whatever the documents you are getting, this will be of lifetime. Okay, you'll be getting theory documents, practical documents, interview question and answer documents, and even in future, whatever the latest concepts we are covering. And that respective documents also will be shared, which will be accessible by your lifetime. But videos alone, which will be accessible for 1 year. So this is about our regular program. So today, every one of you who is attending demo, so those are like part of or looking for this program. I'm considering you that you don't know anything about Pega, or you might be having very little portion learned. Okay, so you are into this program. And that too, this program actually will be running in 2 languages. So we'll be having separate batches for English language and separate batch for English plus Telugu. Okay, and this batch will be purely running on English. We're considering other state people and even other country people also. This will be running purely in English only. And this batch timings will be like 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. IST. Okay, and this duration will be, as I told you, 4.5 minutes. There will not be change in anything what I'm talking now. Okay, fine. Now, based on this, some people will be like getting out, what is this mastery program all about? So am I directly eligible for mastery program, or I'm having little Pega knowledge, can I come to this program? So likewise, you'll be having many questions, right? First, let me give you, or let me clarify what mastery program is also. So mastery program is something like very advanced program. And here there will not be any theory, meaning I'll not explain any concepts there. So in this program, everything. So what is data transform? I'll explain. What is activities? I'll explain you. What is like integrations, maybe constellation part, simulation part, everything considering you don't know anything, I'll explain. And in this particular program, there will not be any explanation part. So this is like designed for people who are already working in Pega. So some people might be working in Pega from 3 years or 4 years, and they might not be in a position to switch the other companies. They might not be in a position to learn new concepts. So this program is open for them. Okay, and here there is no theory, and there will be like only user story based practical program. So in the real time, for every concept, what general user stories your business analyst will give you. So those will be developed here. And this is 100% practical program. And you are supposed to, generally, people who are enrolling for this, they are supposed to get their own laptop to our institute, and they are supposed to sit here, and I'll make them work on every user story, which will be 400 plus in number. Okay, almost like 400 plus user stories. I'll make them work on completely in our institute. And this is like completely, they have to get their own laptop. And for this particular program, just for this particular class, you need not have laptop also. Okay, you are supposed to just listen to the class. And additionally, you have to sit minimum of 1 hour for the practice. And if you guys are working maybe for Monday to Friday, if it is not feasible for you, at least on Saturdays and Sundays, you are supposed to complete this portion. That is what expected. Okay. And this particular program, since it is like practical, it runs only offline. There is no online program for this. Okay. We cannot run this online. And this program is mainly targeted for the people who took training in the other institutes. Okay, so few guys will come to me and saying like, so we took training in the different institute and I did not get proper knowledge. They just covered theory part, and your user stories are like well advanced. I wanted to join your training, but I don't have enough time. So this program is open for them. Okay, and people who are enrolling for our initial program. So today you guys are looking for this, right? So people who are enrolling for this initial program, for these guys, this program will be completely free. Okay, and this you can access only after your training period is completed. So don't say like I enrolled for this program today and for the next mastery program, what we're starting the next week or so. So I wanted to parallelly run into this one, which is not allowed. So this particular program is like free only after this curriculum is done. And that too, as I told you, this program is well advanced. Well advanced in the sense, the very first user story might be whatever the last topic we cover here. So there might not be a proper sequence what we follow, right? That is the reason. So we'll give this program only after this program is done. And that too, we should cross check whether you can understand this program or not. For that, we will be having some eligibility criteria also checking for this. So for that, whatever the mock interviews we are taking, as I told you that there will be mock interviews, right? Where is that? So whatever the mock interviews we are taking and whatever the assignments we are giving, these assignments are very basic. Okay, we are not looking about this project whether you are completing or not. We are not even looking about these projects. So we are just looking whether you're doing basic assignments or not and whether you are giving regular mock interviews or not. Based on this criteria, so we will be giving this program free of cost. So if you are not giving any mock interviews or if you are not doing any assignments, we will not know whether you are learning or not. So if you guys are not learning properly in this program will not be worth for you. You will not even understand. So we tried giving this program free of cost for few people who just enrolled into this program. And later we realized that they are not understanding anything in this mastery program. So that is the reason just to check for the basic criteria. So we are just checking whether they are doing basic assignments or not and even basic mock interviews or not. Then only this program will be free of cost where you can access this anytime in future. Okay, maybe after 6 months or 1 year. So generally we are giving it like 1 year time after your curriculum is done here. So in the next 1 year, you can access and you can use this for free of cost. And people who are staying somewhere out of Hyderabad, as I told you, this program is only offline, right? And you guys might be from USA or some different location where it might not be feasible for you to come to Hyderabad and attend this curriculum. Okay, attend this mastery program for them. So again, you need not worry. As I told you, this mastery program is targeted for the people who enrolled or who took this training in different institutes, right? But in our institute, if you enroll for this regular program, 99 percentage I'll challenge you that you don't require mastery program. You don't require. So mastery program related stuff will be almost covered here in terms of projects or the extra user stories or whatever the things we are covering. If we can strictly follow this particular initial program, so mastery program is 200% not required for you, but still as a complimentary, we will be giving this program for free of cost for all the eligible students. Okay, so don't think like that I'm staying somewhere different location. So if there is no mastery program, so is this program really worth for me or not? Don't think in that way. So 200%, I'm happily saying you this program, if we can enroll today, mastery program is not required. Its similar stuff will be anyway shared with you. And out of your interest, if you're calling me, so when we're taking mock interviews, so after enrolling into this program, if you're calling me and asking me that you want some extra user stories on this particular topic, so I designed screen number 1. Okay, or I'm mastering so and so topic. And in this particular topic, I wanted to do some extra user stories. I want some user stories related to mastery program also now. I wanted to learn parallelly. I wanted to practice parallelly. For any doubts, I'll call you. So if this is what you are looking also, we'll be happy to help you. Okay, so all the stuff related to mastery program will be equally covered here. So try to concentrate on this program. That's more than enough for you. So clear with this, every one of you? Any questions here? Everyone clear? Just yes or no?
Yeah.
Clear, right? Everything you clearly understood, right? Okay, fine. So you guys here are to learn something about like Pega from basic level, right? So what we're calling it as Pega regular program. So let's try to understand something about in that perspective. Okay. So before starting our actual discussion, you guys will be having many questions in your mind. So what is Pega? Okay, and what will be the future for Pega? And what will be the scope? And what will be the opportunities in India? And what will be the opportunities in nearshore countries or something at client location? And what about like Pega certifications? Few people will be thinking like that I have long career gap. So am I really suitable for Pega or not? So what will be like AI impact on Pega jobs today? And what is the recession effect on Pega today? How Pega market in Western countries and how it is in India? And what is something like Pega version 24? And what is like constellation? I'm coming across a word called constellation. What is this constellation? So you'll be having many questions in your mind. So let's try to figure it out, answer for each and every question in this particular session itself. Okay, so let's start with the very first question. So what Pega is? So the very simple answer for this is Pega is used for developing web applications. I'm just giving you one line of simple statement. So Pega is used for developing web application. First of all, what do you mean by web application? So you take any well-known application like Amazon or Facebook or Flipkart. So if we wanted to design that application, so we have to take care of front-end screens designing, right? So we call it as UI layer. We have to take care of front end part. So take Amazon page only. So if you hit like amazon.com, you'll be getting some UI page with some images, maybe with some forms, whatever it is. Now, if I click on particular image, I'll be getting some extra information based on that product what I selected. Suppose I see something like iPhone image in Amazon. After I clicking on that, I'll be getting some information about that, meaning it is trying to interact with its backend, and then further it is trying to interact with its database and getting back, right? So overall web application ante nothing but designing UI layer, something backend layer, and something like database layer. So in any application, UI generally will be developed with HTML only, and its styling part will be based on CSS, and it should have some scripting also. The major scripting part is JavaScript. So this is what we are having from past 20-30 years of web development history. But today there is something like Constellation introduced where UI part is something replaced with JSX. That is JavaScript plus XML, what will technically do with React code. So generally React is a library related to JavaScript, but in the olden days flow or older approach is like JavaScript will be bundled with HTML, right? But in the latest one, this JSX is something where we'll be having combined scripting. Okay. This is where Constellation architecture is. I'll talk about this in coming sessions. But for now, general web application must be like constituting UI layer, and constituting backend layer and even database layer. So you take Amazon application, front end will be same HTML, CSS, JavaScript only. And database, no doubt, will be having something like SQL queries only. In any project, database understands only SQL. So there might be Java technology in the background, or something .NET technology in the background, or Python as its background, or even Pega as its background, whatever the background it might be. So front end will be every time designed with HTML part, back end will every time be designed with SQL part. So if you are supposed to design any web application, you have to write your front end related coding. HTML tags is what you have to write. CSS font styles is what you have to write. JavaScript is manual is what you have to write. So everything manually you have to write coding. And coming to background design, so if your client is using Java, so no doubt you have to write Java coding for that. And maybe if it is to interact with database part, no doubt you have to write SQL queries. So in order to design one sample web page, no doubt you have to write coding at UI layer, backend layer, and even database layer also. But today, Pega is replacing coding part for entire web application. Okay, so technically we call this as full stack development, correct? So we technically call this as full stack development. If you are a full stack developer, you should know front end coding part. You should know Angular JS or React JS, no doubt with HTML part, CSS part. And parallelly, you should know Java coding part. Maybe if they are using .NET, you should know that. You should know Python and you should know SQL query part. But today, all the full stack part is replaced with one automated tool called Pega. So Pega is one automated tool where it is completely configured with UI designed. So UI part is completely done. So Java part, background part is completely included there. And SQL part is completely included there. So you as a Pega developer, you can design any output by just simply drag and dropping and achieving it. So meaning with Pega, you need not write any single line of coding also. You need not write front-end coding part. You need not write database query part. You need not write background Java coding part also. But still, you can get the complete output. How a physical full stack developer will be doing the same. So finally, Pega is one automated tool where front-end part, back-end part, and database part completely integrated. No one in interview will ask you any question about like Java coding. And no one in interview, they'll ask you any coding about like SQL queries. And no one will ask you anything about like your front-end part also. So if you are like an Pega developer, you should know how to implement it. You need not write any physical coding. Okay. So most of you who don't know anything about Pega, what they might think is if everything is automated, so what extra difficulties we face? I'll give you with very small example. Suppose if you wanted to consider in your home, there is a function, marriage function and content. So there must be an wedding card to be designed, or there must be some video to be done. What you'll do? You'll try to go to one Photoshop person, right? Photo studio వెళ్తారు. So after you go into that photo studio, maybe if I'm that photo studio person, I'll be using a software called Photoshop, right? I'll be using Photoshop. So with this Photoshop software, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to generate one project or I'm trying to generate one video. So a marriage video or something like a bigger video. So I know how to generate this, but this particular tool is completely developed in the background, right? Am I writing any coding in this tool? No. I should know how to use this tool. So here, no doubt HTML is automated, SQL part is automated, and even Java part is completely automated. So I'm a developer who is developing this output. So I should know what are all the hidden options available. It's not that easy even for a Photoshop developer to learn everything, right? So he will not bother what it is like internally designed with. So if someone is hiring you, as like in Photoshop person, they will just ask you how will you generate this video. They will not ask you what is the coding inside this one and what is like front-end coding developed here. No one will ask you anything about this tool. They'll just ask you how can you generate this requirement. Maybe after your course is done, in Jastar, you'll try to go to any interview, right? Saying like I have 4 years of experience. So if I'm the interviewer there, I'll just ask you, I wanted to design a screen where I wanted to collect a few details from the customer. Whenever I click on submit button, immediately I wanted to send an email to that person. How do you implement this with Pega? This is what I'll ask you. Okay, I'll not ask you, can you please write and show me the Java code, how to send an email? So this nowhere they'll ask you in Pega. They'll just ask you, how do you implement these scenarios? Don't think Pega is easy. Never estimate that Pega is simple. Don't think it in that way. Pega is difficult, no doubt in it. So Pega is like very difficult to understand the logic. So you will be facing many challenges in future. But compared to any other thing you take, so you take Python versus Pega, you take Java versus Pega, you take .NET versus Pega, or Salesforce versus Pega. Compared to any other thing, Pega is better, but don't treat Pega as easy. So that will be turning to overconfidence slowly. అర్థమవుతుందా? So following rate every one of you? Online people, everyone following, right?
Yeah, Chandra.
Yes.
Okay. So you should know how to make use of Pega. That's it. Okay. So I'll give you one very small example, or I'll show you one small thing. So this is what your actual Pega tool is. How are you getting this tool? Everything I'll explain you slowly. So let me search with something called send email notification. So I can see something already designed by Pega with the name send email notification. And here for sending an email, whatever the Java code required, it is completely ready-made for. You can see this, right? Okay, in order to send an email, generally Java coding is required, but everything is ready for us. For any kind of front-end requirement, for any kind of back-end requirement, for any kind of database part, everything we are having ready-made. You should know how to use them. That's it. That is the major challenge. That's not simple. So you should know how to make use of existing Java code. No one will in interview will ask you to explain these Java scenarios. They'll just ask you how to implement this requirement. So then what you have to answer is, so there is one OOTB available in Pega. So what is OOTB? OOTB and it's kind of predefined. Okay, OOTB technically we call it as out of the box. So there is something like OOTB available in Pega with the name send email notification. I'll try to use this. I'll try to use this on this button click. Okay, so we're understanding designing a screen for collecting few details, right? On click of this, I wanted to send an email. So I'm already having one predefined, or we technically call it as OOTB with the name send email notification, which is having some Java code. And the customer email ID, whatever he's entering, Chandra@gmail account. So this value should be passed as a parameter to this OOTB send email notification. Obviously, email will be triggered. This is what they'll ask. This is what you are expected to answer. Okay. And based on this statement, I'll give you few extra scenarios what generally you face in your real time. Okay. Consider these questions generally you'll get it in your manager round. Okay, so if I'm your manager, what I'm asking you is, consider I'm a Citibank manager and there are like almost 1 lakh customers in my database. So every day midnight 12 a.m., I'm supposed to send email for all my 1 lakh customers. How do you implement this with Pega? This is your next connected question. So you know that to send an email, you have to run send email notification as the available rule, right? So if I run this rule, it will send email for only one time. It will send email for one person. That's it. Now for how many persons you have to send? It's like 1 lakh. And tomorrow customers count might be still increased, right? It might be 1.2 lakh. Next day 1.5 lakh. So if something email triggering count is changing daily, how do you manage this scenario? So first of all, how can you schedule this exactly at 12 o'clock? So here you have to explain something about like job scheduler part. So I'll schedule an rule or I'll schedule something available at midnight 12 o'clock. So what we call it as a recurring interval. So I'll schedule something like recurring interval for a job scheduler. So we'll be running one OOTB where I have to first pull out all 1 lakh customer data from database. And I'll try to pass this first one as the parameter there. And second email ID as the parameter, third email ID as parameter, meaning this particular thing will be looped for 1 lakh times. So how to manage this? This is what they'll ask you technically. So when you're explaining this scenario, then itself they'll understand how well you learned all these scenarios. Okay, so if we can understand one small point today, so on top of it, what will be the every extra user story you should clearly understand. Okay, so finally what I'm trying to say is, you as a Pega developer, you can be part of front-end development. You can be part of backend development, and even you can be part of database development. But anywhere, physical coding is not at all required. So you should be in a position to make use of the existing data. You should be in a position to know what is the available for that, and you should know how to call it and how many times you have to call it. Meaning looping is just now what I told you, right? How many times you have to call it, and conditionally how to call it. Conditionally meaning, so the same example, if I have 1 lakh customers, where few are of credit card customers, maybe few are of loan customers. I wanted to send email for only loan customers on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I wanted to send email for credit card customers on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So how to make use of send email notification looped for those many credit card customers on these particular days only. And if something is failed, consider on Tuesday, it is supposed to trigger for 1 lakh customer, but for one customer, email is not triggered. So what is the troubleshooting you have to do? What is the debugging process you will take care? So as an maybe today we got an instance saying like this is to be triggered for 1 lakh customer, but for one customer it is missed. So how do you handle this? How do you first identify the issue? So everything you should clearly understand. Okay, so I'm just giving you one heads up day one itself saying like Pega is not easy. But compared to any other thing, Pega is easy. Compared to Lona, it is easy. And that too physically you need not write any coding at all. Okay, so you should learn a number of scenarios. You have to learn Pega more logical way. So if you are learning something in theoretical way, no doubt you will not land in the proper position. After you joining some company, no doubt you have to take support from some persons which is not entertained generally. So that is the reason you have to learn Pega everything in more practical based. So we are fond of Pega practicals. So you compare with any other institute, generally people will say like they are teaching more of theoretical. But here we are the only training institute we are providing mastery program also only practicals based. And you need not worry that you about like mastery program also. Mastery program related stuff will be no doubt covered in your regular program. And if you can follow all the guidelines, or if you can follow all the user stories or projects or whatever I give in initial program itself, 100% you will be like uh, more well advanced even in terms of practical oriented also. That's my open challenge. Okay, fine. So coming back here, so finally Pega is one automated tool which is completely developed on Java. Okay, but you need not learn any Java skills also. Maybe if you look at Naukri or somewhere for Pega positions, sometimes in the job description, they'll ask for Java also. Why they're asking for Java? And sometimes they'll be asking you for SQL knowledge also. Why they'll be asking for SQL? If everything Java and SQL is automated today, why are they still asking this as a specific skill? Why and so Pega will be having a new version released for every quarter. Earlier, they used to release a version once in an year or once in 1.5 year. But these days, because of latest Gen AI concepts included, they are planning to release a new version once in a quarter. Okay, fine. So past versions. So if we just look at Pega versions, it started with version 4, then version 5, then version 6, then version 7, version 8, and today version 23. It doesn't mean version 9, 10, 11, all are there and go. After version 8, they directly launched it as version 23. I'll explain about all these things. So if we just look at the past versions of Pega, there might not be that level of automation done, right? So today, Pega is almost like 99% automated. For any of your requirement, you take front-end requirement or back-end requirement or database requirement, you need not write any coding at all. It is like 99% or 90 plus percentage is like completely automated. So in the past versions, it might not be that level of automated, right? So say my project is still in older version, there only 70% scenarios are automated. So if my client is asking me to build a requirement which is like not available ready-made in Pega, so you are supposed to write Java coding, correct? You are supposed to write extra coding. Pega supports customized coding also, which is not entertained. If Pega is already having a coding, you have to make use of that. And if there is nothing like automation available, you have to write your own coding. So in the past versions, we got chances of writing our own coding, and in the latest versions, it is completely decommissioned. You should not writing any coding. You should not write any coding at all. Okay. So now today, if you just look at any job requirement, in very rare scenario, they will be asking for Java knowledge. Why? And they might be still running on older versions of Pega, where they might be having some customized Java code written. And now if they wanted to upgrade the entire project from older version to the latest version, in that scenario, whatever the customized Java code, so that is to be removed, and whatever the Java code ready-made by Pega, you have to get it aligned, right? So just for that sake, they might ask you little Java knowledge people. It's like very rare scenario. You need not worry on that. So you need not have Java knowledge also. Maybe in interviews, if someone is asking you whether you have Java skill, you can straight away say like all the user stories what we developed, it's completely based on the OOTB available, meaning predefined Java code only. We did not get a chance to customize the code anytime. So I did not get a chance to work on Java coding part. So I'm not familiar with that. So you are happy to say that answer. Okay, so there is nothing wrong there. And even sometimes they might ask you something about like SQL query part also. So just now we understood Pega is inbuilt with SQL query coding also, right? But still they might ask you SQL query part. Why? Because when you are working with external databases, what do you mean by external databases? I'll give you one small example. Consider we are working in Citibank. Okay, I'm a developer developing this Citibank project. Okay, so here a Citibank employee, what generally he will do? So there will be an option to, suppose if I'm a Citibank employee, there will be like employee search functionality, right? I can search for my different employees also, all are like bank employees consider. If I'm searching for my colleague employee ID, I'll be getting his details, right? So what is happening? So Citibank has got one database. So where there will be all the list of employees maintained in a single table. On click of that, it is hitting the table and getting back some information. So scenario number one is to make this application getting data from their database only. Now let me talk about another scenario. So in the same Citibank application, if I'm a credit card employee, okay, so there will be like few customers standing in front of me asking for credit cards. Kada? Maybe if you go for a bank, ask for a credit card. You are supposed to stand in a queue, right? So if I'm the employee there, and if you are like standing in the queue, what I'll do? First, I'll be checking for your eligibility. I'll not straight away give you credit card kit, right? So we'll be just checking for your eligibility. What do you mean by eligibility? I'll be collecting for your PAN card number based on which we'll learn your or we'll get your loan history. So what are the previous loans you have taken? What are the previous credit cards you are using? Okay, are you paying everything in time or not? So some eligibility, what we'll check there. So here from where are we getting this data? So I'm a part of Citibank. You might be having some loan from different bank also at Axis Bank. Ila kada. I'm getting all the Axis Bank related history also. Meaning in this scenario, if this is our Citibank database and there will be something called RBI as different application and this might be their database. On click of search button, I'm trying to hit to third party application and they are trying to process my request based on the PAN card number and they are giving me some response and that is where it is displayed here. Scenario one is to integrate our UI with our own database. This is internal database. Scenario 2 is to integrate our UI with external application. Am I correct? For this, we'll try to go for connect REST, connect SOAP, whatever it is. And sometimes scenario 3 will be between two different applications. Now RBI will give permission for us to integrate with their database also directly. So in scenario 2, we are sending a request to RBI, and in this process, their database is not exposed to us. They are just processing and giving some response. But in scenario 3, we will be directly integrating with their database. They'll give permission and we'll get some response. And in this scenario 3, there might be scenarios of you have to write your own SQL queries. So today, maybe today when you're going for an interview, if they're asking you more questions on SQL part, they might be having more external database integration scenarios. So if there are like more external DB scenarios, sometimes you have to write SQL query part, and there they might ask you some skill based on that. Okay, and that too, this is not that difficult. So even Pega on its own can generate SQL query with external tables also. So here Pega application is generating SQL query with internal database, right? As I told you, SQL query part is inbuilt, meaning it is running on SQL queries inbuilt. It is generating everything. So Pega has got capacity to generate internal SQL queries. It has even got capacity to generate SQL query for external databases also. But sometimes these are not okay. We are supposed to write customized SQL queries. There they might ask you whether you have knowledge on SQL query part or not. Even if you say that I did not get a chance to work on external database, doesn't matter. Or learning this is also like very simple. Okay. But finally, 99% of the scenarios, you need not learn any extra Java part. You need not learn any SQL part and even HTML part also. You should just understand how to make use of this Pega tool. Okay. How to make use of this Pega tool. So you should know how to drag and drop for UI. You should know what is automated for any background requirement. Okay, fine. So finally, Pega is one automated tool which is developed completely on Java and which is using latest markup language called HTML5. And in the latest versions of Pega, it is having something with JSX, and you need not learn anything about this or this or this. Okay, I'm just explaining you what is the background architecture Pega is having with. So don't think like Pega is something recently available to. So Pega is available from past 30 plus years. So few people might think like Pega is something latest introduced from past 5 years or 10 years. No. So Pega is available in the market, and no doubt it is in top in the market from past 30 years. So whenever like Pega started, maybe like 1980s, so they have developed everything as their backend with C language. C sharp is their backend. Okay. But if they are using something like C sharp, it is not working in all the domains. That is where slowly they migrated their backend part to Java. So does any one of you came across OutSystems? OutSystems and a tool winner? Similar to Pega. Pega is one tool, right? Similarly, OutSystems is one tool which is developed by Microsoft. Did anyone came across this tool name anytime? Just tell me yes or no.
No, sir.
No. Okay, fine. So OutSystem is something similar to Pega. Likewise, there are many competitors. So APN is one competitor. APN winner? Did you came across APN? Okay, so there are like many competitors out of which Pega is like top. Okay. Now, why am I saying this OutSystems? OutSystems is completely developed by Microsoft, where .NET is its backend technology. .NET is its backend technology. So if it is like .NET developed application, it will not work on all the devices. It will not work on all the cross platforms. It will not support on every operating system. Suppose if something is developed on Java, it is independent of operating system. Okay, so you will be using smartwatches, correct? So in smartwatch, there is something software written here. And you take washing machine. So is there any software written there? Yes. You take like dishwashers. So some software is there. So whatever the code I am writing, it is to be working on any operating system. So here Microsoft will be, or OutSystem will be working only on Microsoft operating system. So that is the reason slowly they upgraded to Java. So Java is like fully developed. You take any background requirement. So if my background requirement now is to send an email to the customer, maybe if my background requirement is to store all the details into my database, or if I'm supposed to send an SMS to all the parties today, or if I wanted to store all the details into external databases, okay, or if I wanted to archive all the in-flight data, whatever it is, every background requirement you get daily, everything can be done with this OOTP available code. Okay, fine. So you need not learn any specific knowledge. So you need not learn any specific technology. So meaning there is no prerequisite for Pega. So you might be having little Java knowledge or nil Java knowledge. You can happily learn this Pega. So from today or tomorrow, whatever I'm making you to understand, you strictly follow that. So if you're following this in some systematic way, whatever I give you, you need not learn anything extra. So whatever the extra OOPS concept or encapsulation concept, everything will be covered as part of our Pega curriculum only. I'll not use anywhere Java code so that it will be like a little scary for you. Okay, so you just follow everything, whatever we are teaching in the class, that is enough. Okay. So consider today you joined some company. So after your course is done, generally what you'll do, you'll try to attend some interviews, right? So consider you are going for TCS. Okay, so here TCS team will check for your skill. Based on that, they will hire you. So if January 1st is your date of joining there, so you will be given with some employee ID, correct? And initially, or maybe from day one itself, you will not be assigned to a project. So maybe for 1 week or 10 days, you will be on bench. So what is happening in this bench period? So you are being allocated to some client. So TCS has got City project, maybe Bank of America project, or maybe Bopa Insurance project, or something like MedPlus project, or whatever it is, different sector projects will be available with TCS. And they'll try to map you onto this City project, consider. And you are trying to develop all the Citibank related requirements, right? So here City project, they are in a plan to design their credit card application. So if this is the first screen, what you got it as a requirement. So as part of the screen, there will be something like images, maybe you can see a video and you can see some text boxes, everything, right? So if you are supposed to design any UI part, whatever you are seeing, those we call it as UI elements. Getting my point? Whatever you see, image is one UI element, video is one UI element. So this informational image or a button or a text box or a label or an image or an header, whatever it is, everything we see in the output, those we call it as UI elements. Okay, and within this UI elements, again few elements are meant for capturing the data. I can see first name is to collect some data, right? So here you have to enter your first name. Here you have to enter your last name, your age, your date of birth. So this particular things. So these are capturing some information. So on maybe this image is not capturing, it is just showing you some logo ante. So it is showing some information ante. But this is meant for capturing. So we call these as data capturing elements. And the other one are like data displaying elements. So when you are designing any UI part in Pega, so UI elements is what you have to drag and drop, within which data displaying part will be there, data capturing part will be there. So before you got any, you are supposed to design the screen, right? First, you should closely analyze how many data capturing things are there, how many data displaying part is there. For data capturing, suppose if I enter my first name, last name, everything. If I click on submit button, no doubt I'm supposed to hold this data into my database table. Am I correct? Yes, right? So meaning how many data capturing elements you are creating, first name, middle name, what are all the things you are creating. No doubt those are to be stored into our database table. No doubt those many columns must be generated. So designing this UI page involves creating a new columns into database tables also. For that, you need not physically open anywhere database table. You need not physically add any column there. You need not physically write any query to get this data mapped onto this one. So everything you have to design. So don't think like UI part ante just basic drag and dropping. So you have to get this integrated with background Java as well as SQL part also. So every requirement what you are developing, it doesn't require coding and it will be very interesting. And make sure you have to learn everything more logically. And that to designing this UI part is also not simple. So whenever I'm drag and dropping an image, I want this image to be capturing or maintain only 20% of the screen size. And this video is also has 20% of the screen size. When I say 20%, so this particular output, it is not guaranteed that I'll be checking on only one laptop. Suppose I'm an Amazon developer. Okay, I designed screen number one. And there I drag and dropping an image which should be 20% uncounted. And this application who will use? Every one of you. Ante kada? Every one of us Amazon use chestam kada? So person one can be using this Amazon from a mobile phone. Person two maybe from tab. Person three maybe from small laptop. Person four maybe from a big TV. Person five maybe from a very big screen. Whatever the screen I am developing today, it should be equally aligned in every screen resolution. Am I correct? So it's not that simple. If I just take 20% as the reference in my development screen, so I have to make sure it should be properly aligned in every other device. We call this as responsive web design. So to design this UI part, you have to take care of RWD, responsive web design part, and you have to take care of UI elements, that is data displaying part, and you have to take care of data capturing part, and you have to make sure whether columns are properly created or not, and you have to make sure taking care of validation part. So in the first name, if I enter @ correct? No, right? So I should immediately get an error message. So error message, what we call it as validation part. So validation again multiple types, server type validation, client side validation, whatever it is. So everything more clearly is what you have to learn. So just to follow everything from starting to ending, no doubt you'll understand every tough practical scenario out of our curriculum. So we'll continue the next things tomorrow. So there further I'll explain you what options we're having in Pega and what about the certification part, everything tomorrow I'll try to cover. So everyone clear, right? Everyone of you clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, once we complete this PowerPoint presentation, so whatever the doubt you get in your mind, that will be no doubt cleared. Maybe if you are still having any further doubts, we can even discuss after tomorrow's session. And if you wanted to talk to me personally also, you can just call me, no doubt. Okay. And so this is our mobile number. Just a second, Sudhir. So this is our mobile number and this is our WhatsApp number, in fact. Okay. And I wanted every one of you now itself. Take your mobile phones. This one. Online and offline. I want you to take your mobile phone right away. I'm waiting. And for this WhatsApp number, what generally you get messages from them. So join the demo. Please share today's recording. So you just drop a message in WhatsApp now itself. Okay, only for the message, only for the people who dropped message, you'll be getting today's recording and documents, everything. Okay, so now itself, every one of you online, please do it. All people doing right? Okay, now. Okay, so whoever has dropped a message, you guys will be getting recording. And tomorrow also, every one of you, please join in the same meeting link. And offline people also, please come in time at 8 o'clock. Okay, so tomorrow we'll try to understand the remaining part of this discussion, and then we'll start our actual Pega projects. Okay, so how to install Pega from there itself we'll start, and how to start our new project, and how to create frameworks inside that, implementations inside, and how to design UI screens and backend screens, everything systematic we will learn. Okay, and once in 2 weeks, we'll try to take some mock interviews also so that you can judge yourself how much you learned. So that is where the curriculum is. Okay, so we'll continue things tomorrow. Okay. So there you just messaged me, right? So you wanted to talk anything?
Oh, Chandra, a general question right before we end the call.
Mm.
Now that you said Pega is platform independent, I understand what you said, but then the only question is, why does it only run on Windows when we say it's platform
No,
independent?
I'm talking about like personal edition. Okay, so maybe yesterday or day before we had a discussion saying like Pega can be installed only in Windows. Okay, anyway, like I have to explain this tomorrow. Okay, so
Oh,
whatever
okay.
software I'm giving you, that is like personal edition. But in the real time, it will not be working on personal edition. There will be something like cloud environment. So real time, whatever the device use, even in mobile or iPhone or whatever it is, in the enterprise edition, it works everywhere. But in the personal or home edition, it is designed and it is compatible only for Windows. Maybe if you guys are
Understood.
using like Apple, how to do that also, I'll explain maybe in tomorrow's session. Okay.
Understood. Understood. Sorry, maybe a very basic question. Maybe I would have missed it.
No issues, no issues. Actually, that is expected from this batch, right? So you guys are like completely beginner to Pega. So whatever the silly doubt you get, so it is like accepted to ask, not a problem. Okay.
Thank you, Chandra. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.